Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ascendant Art Weebout, whichever way you want to pronounce it, because it's going to be fun. We're going to be talking about Devil is a Part-Timer today. Last time we heard Joey's completely wrong opinions about ReZero, which you can also find on our channel if you'd like to go back and watch 2 hours of him being wrong about pretty much everything. But this time, I think we're going to agree a lot more because ReZero was my pick, and Devil is a Part Timer was the one that Joey told me that I should watch, and I am really thankful that he did because I really, really liked it a lot. We also have Animaine joining us today because he is also a fellow Weeb and fan of Devil is a Part Timer, and he really wanted to be in on this conversation.
Hell yeah. Thank you for having me. And thank me and the person who helped me get this competent mic so I don't have to do this over the phone again and sound like I'm in a bathroom in hell. So thank y'all for having me. And I can't wait to talk about these problematic people and this awesome show that exists to genuinely, subvert some people expectations in the best way, in the good way, in the good ways, in all the good ways.
So, Joey, I think since last time I was the one kind of given the basic setting of ReZero, since it was my pick kind of show, I'd like you to go ahead and why don't you paint the picture of what Devil is a Part Timer is for the people listening?
All right, so Devil is a Part-Timer is kind of a reverse isekai slash slice of life, wherein the demon lord from another world ends up in our world, and because he can't really use the magic the way he did in the other world, he kind of has to get a job so that he can eat and take care of himself. So he becomes a part-time employee at a fast food restaurant that I think is basically McDonald's, but they don't call it McDonald's.
I think it's McRonald's or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah,
McRonald's or something like
McDonald's.
that.
It
And
reminds
then,
me of was it Coming to America? When you
yeah.
no, I'm McDowell's.
Exactly. Like anything that has a solid McDonald's, like a faux McDonald's, like it is gonna get cool points for me. Like, what was the one that was in Chappelle's show? That was my favorite for a while. I can't remember that one. It was like
No.
Whack Arnold's or some shit. Like it was just stupid as shit. But that was like the peak for me. But then I saw this and I'm like, nope, it's McDonald's from now on.
Now, what? And they also had they all, in addition to the McRonald's, they have a Kentucky Fried Chicken ripoff that it becomes a prominent plot point for them. What was the name of that one? It was the
Oh, it was Kentucky Fried Chicken.
yes, Kentucky.
Kentucky, Kentucky.
What's interesting is since our last conversation was about ReZero, this is done by Studio White Fox, which I believe is the same studio that does ReZero. So they're actually, in my opinion, after having watched Devil's a Part Timer, ReZero, and some of the other ones on their list, including, I believe, Steins Gate, which is another really highly regarded anime. White Fox is a really, really solid studio. So if you see that they're the ones making the anime, you're probably in good shape for at least quality animation. The plot may or may not, because I haven't watched all of them, but so far everything that I've seen animated by Studio White Fox is fantastic. Like in this one especially, like this is just a slice of life fun kind of anime. It's not something you would see people like really putting, you'd expect so much detail and heart and love put into the animation, but you can see that they really went for it. Even like the eye of him like emptying a fry basket is animated like it's a shonen show. It reminds me of the way they do Food Wars when they're doing stuff like
Mhm.
that, where you
Oh
just
yeah,
see
definitely,
where you
definitely.
just see the commitment to doing it right. And I wish more anime did that, because you can see on a lot of anime where they're maybe just kind of pumping it through the CGI mill to try to like cut costs, but this one has quality through the whole thing.
Well, and that's kind of like one of the appeals of the show. It's like you wouldn't think it, but the demon lord from this other world, he takes his job very seriously. Like
For
he is the
real.
most devoted McDonald's employee I've ever seen.
Yeah, is really he's way more earnest in his duties as a fucking fast food employee than he has is any business being. And since y'all brought up the attention to detail, even in the small elements, I think that's really one of my favorite staples of a really good slice of life anime. Anyone can do like an elaborate battle scene, like the first episode. Oh yeah, also don't worry about spoilers. If you ain't seen it and you don't want to see it until season 2 get here, which is only in a couple months,
Season
turn
2
away
is coming
now.
out in July. We're gonna spoil the shit
Yeah,
out of this
because
thing.
we just going in. Ain't no point in holding back.
This is going to be great because if you're trying to just kind of get a nice recap and catch up on the story, we're going to kind of go over the whole thing. So this is actually good, a primer, a season 1 recap and review at the same time, if you will. So I think it's going to be pretty useful because I can't highly spoiler. I'm going to be highly recommending everyone watch this and then watch the second season. Hopefully, the second season will be as good as this one.
It better.
It is
Right.
like we talked about in our previous Weeb Out episode. Anime is produced on a different timeline than what we're used to in the West for most television. So Devil is a Part-Timer, the first season came out years ago, and it was actually kind of a surprise that they announced a second season was actually coming as far back as usually
I
anime
thought it
is.
was dead. I
Yeah,
really
Yeah.
did.
one is done.
Definitely.
It's really a surprise that it's coming out, and I think a pleasant one at that. So let's jump in, like we talked about a little bit. So we've got the devil. He's going to become a devoted McRonald's employee, and I think you want to, like we talked about with ReZero, what really makes great anime great is usually the supporting characters, and I think Devil is a Part-Timer is no slouch on having some great ones.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then before we jump into that, though, I do want to say the first episode where they actually show him as the Demon Lord over in their world, I thought they did some really amazing things. One, they presented it like your very standard Demon Lord fantasy battle world, magic flying all over the place. This just ridiculous over the top battling going on. They all spoke in another language, and I kind of liked the way they did that because they don't give you subtitles on a lot of the stuff that happens until they come over to the other world. So you don't know what they're talking about. But it's got, like, did anyone ever watch Hunt for Red October? How they did it in Hunt for Red October, where they talked in their language for a while and then it just kind of flips and you just get that nice transition.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite ways for them to do foreign audio in a movie because, all right, so one of my pet peeves, and this is, I talk to my wife all the time about it. I hate when it's supposed to be in a foreign language, but it's spoken in English because it's made either a Hollywood movie or an English movie or something. And they'll speak perfectly, either English accented English or just American English until they get to the foreign word that we all know. So a good example would be Les Miserables when everyone's speaking English. And I'm talking about the Liam Neeson one, not the terrible singing one with Hugh Jack and, and Russell Crowe. But like English, monsieur. And they super overemphasize like the French word. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. If everything else is English, you wouldn't say monsieur, you'd say sir. Or instead of we, you'd say yes, yeah. Like you wouldn't say au revoir, like you'd say bye. Like, but for some reason, it's a stupid conceit where they just leave in these French words or foreign language words that we do know, and they don't bother, and then they act. And it's like it totally takes me out. So Hunt for Red October was great.
And if you're going to do that, you're going to have to develop a French accent. But I guess since nobody in America knows what a French accent sounds like, it just becomes an English accent.
I believe that all you have to do is go ho 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 when you laugh, and then you're
We are going to make ourselves some delicious baked bread today.
Yeah, so
You will enjoy it.
It was funny
It's
because
the French chef from Little Mermaid.
yeah, so when Joey recommended the show to me, he didn't mention the part about like the most of the first episode not being translated.
You were like, what the hell is going on?
I really love that aspect. Like it was just full immersion, like you guys were saying, like the language, and I feel like I'm in the middle of like a D&D campaign, fully anime form. We got spells flying left and right. They scaling the walls and demon hordes, and then Mao comes out, and he's when he's in his other world form, he got the hoof feet, and he starts fighting the quote unquote hero, and did the whole scene with the horns
And he's
slicing
fucking
off and everything.
huge. Like he's like 8 feet
Beefy
tall.
as shit. That also reminds me of when I watched this for the first time, and I had become so accustomed to his little wimpy ass human form, and then they get to the episodes where he starts shifting back, and you remember, oh no, this dude's like a literal beast. Like
Well, yeah, it's funny because in the first episode they go over it. Like once they get to the human world and they're in their human forms, he's really short, and his general is like, "Oh man, you're small in this form."
Oh yeah, Alciel is also the truth too. I love him. Like their banter as like king and general is beautiful because he's so dedicated, but he will also tell it like it is, and he has a way of just like getting under Mal's skin where he's fucking up. But I love it. I just love
Well,
the whole
he's the most trusted general, and I think this speaks to the, it's a very subtext, but like I think it speaks to the wisdom of the demon lord in the first place that he
Mhm.
made he made that guy his general because he keeps him in check. Like he
True.
calls him on all his
Exactly. That's what it
bullshit.
is.
He
That's what it
points
is.
out the things.
Yeah,
So
you
if we're
can't
gonna,
have the yes man be the right hand. You got to
yeah,
have the person who's gonna be like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing?" You know
You
that.
are you are spending all our food budget. We
Right.
don't have money for this.
and well, if you want to talk about not having a yes man, I believe Lucifer was also one of his generals, and he straight up like tries to
Lucifer is
betray them.
a damn mess.
Oh yeah,
Oh, but I'm gonna be honest.
yeah.
He was my favorite character because he was just hilarious. There's an episode about 3/4 of the way through the season one. His job for the demon lord in the human world is to try to
I
track
have
down,
found I have found a font of magic for
yeah,
you, master. It's in the school.
to find where magic actually exists on this world so they can power up. And he tricks them into going to this school, and it turns out it was where he was hiding out in the world, and because he wants his PSP back. And he's like, they get to the room, and he's like, "There's what's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, you're in the room. Look over to your right. Do you see a little game system sitting on the floor? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you grab that and just bring it home?" He's like,
Yeah.
and of course it's animated like as a former owner of a PSP, which I thought was a super underrated handheld game system. I appreciated that, but it was just hilarious because Lucifer's character makes me laugh the most, and then his interaction with Alciel is hilarious because he's constantly trying to, like, they basically subsist Lucifer on a diet of like gas station ramen and stuff. It's like, you're gonna eat that and you'll like it because we have no money.
Why do you guys get to eat all the fancy food and I just get cup noodles? Quiet, Lucifer. Maybe if you do your job, we'd bring you the big cup noodles.
And random point. I love how I have to say, out of all the things, especially anime that I've seen that borrow from Christianity or any type of not mythology, but I guess lore, I guess you could say, this has got to be in my definitely top 3, because they went out of their way to have Satan, the actual king of the demons, Satan, and Lucifer be 2 different people. I dig that. I dig that because usually, you hear, someone starts talking about Lucifer, oh, well, that's the devil. But the fact that they actually had them be 2 different entities, I think was a really good touch.
As a connoisseur of another anime that involves a lot of references to Christian, mythology and theology, it seems common for them to split up Satan versus Lucifer. I'm of course mentioning High School DxD, not for children, but it's got a great story. I watched it for the story. But Devil is a part-timer is hilarious. Like, there's another aspect of it where he doesn't go to the new world by himself. The hero of the
Oh
world
no.
chases him like
We
down.
got to talk about the best part of the show.
The hero is a female. She's a half angel, half human. She can
Oh, quick
wield.
before we jump into that though.
Yeah.
There is one other thing we should touch on from the beginning and how it gets started, which is the way that instead of it being like your standard isekai where it's like, "Oh, I've played all these fantasy RPGs. I know what the fuck is going on in this world." The way they do it in this one is very cool because Mao just uses his demon power, what little he has left, to just drain all the information out of the main love interest's dad's head. And then he knows the world. And that's how they explain why he knows what the hell is going on.
But it's also helpful because the main love interest dad is a police officer, and it makes sense that random weirdos who don't speak the language in a foreign land
And
who
try
are
to use magic on
who
them
are
when
trying to
they try
use
to arrest him.
who are trying to like act all which looks sketchy and weird are going to be brought to a police station.
Yeah, Shakespeare in the Park, as Tony Stark would call them. Like,
Yeah, because they look like Doctor Strange running around. So yeah, so it's a nice attention to detail where the plot points actually fit. It's not something where if you start pulling the thread, it just falls apart and you're like, oh no, don't think very hard about what's going on because it doesn't work. It reminds me a lot of Edgar Wright movies like, the Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz,
oh
where
yeah.
where everything is really constructed very well plot wise. Like if there's a Chekhov's gun, it's going to get used, right? So they introduce the police officer, and it's supposed to be in a medium sized town in Japan. It makes sense that he might end up like running into, and in this case, working at McDonald's with, what's Chiho, who turns out to be the daughter of the police officer, which he doesn't know, even though he wipes the guy's memory. He somehow didn't, pull that part.
Look, man, you don't know what you don't know until you know you don't know it.
Yeah.
Basically.
So so the hero of the original world, the demon world, pursues, because this is her mission, right, in life. She was given the assignment as the hero to defeat the demon lord. Well, what happens if the demon lord starts running away, right? Well, in this case, the hero just chases right after him through the portal. And what's funny is that the demon lord didn't actually know what the hero looked like, because the hero was wearing armor, and so he didn't realize it was same age as him, attractive young lady. So he gets duped by her early on, where she's basically stalking him just from afar. She runs into him, and he's just being nice and gives her an umbrella and all this other stuff. And she's finally like, "What are you doing? Why aren't you evil? I want to kill you."
And he's like, "Wait, you're the hero?"
What's really hilarious is that he's like slumming it working at a McDonald's, and McRonald, and she manages to get a nice, like, cushy telemarketer kind of job where she's making a better.
She's working at a fucking call center, dude.
Well, I
She's
mean,
not doing that much better.
It's only like one step up from handling the black pepper fries at McDonald's.
And she tries to kill him with a steak knife.
Look, man, you couldn't tell her nothing. She whipped out that little shit. Just like,
where's your holy blessed sword? I could summon it if I wanted to, but I'm saving my magic to go back.
Emmy, I have to praise Emmy, because like I've dealt with a lot of tsunderes in my time. She is like definitely like at the top of my list for the tsunderes, because from the stalking to the dedication of, I'm going to kill this evil motherfucker because it's literally Satan. What y'all think I'm here to do? And then every time she encounters anything about him that counters that, she's like, the fuck you mean you gonna let me stay with you? What the fuck you being nice to me for? You the devil. What, a date? Oh, fuck that. I'm getting this little girl. I'm telling her ass the truth.
It is interesting because I think they do a really good job showing how conflicted she is about the whole damn situation. Like a lot of tsunderes, it's just like, I'm not getting it. No, she just clearly likes this guy. But with this one, they do a very good job showing she's conflicted, because she definitely likes him. She's definitely developing feelings.
What I also liked is the fact that they make it very clear that she's not an idiot. So when she started, so she never actually had direct contact with the demon lord in this world until they had their battle. And then he immediately was getting his butt kicked and starts fleeing to the other world. So once she actually gets to see him as a person, and he's doing nice things and he's treating people nicely, she immediately, and it's very quickly, starts questioning like what's going on. She's got a lot of cognitive dissonance about like what I was told, what I experienced in the other world versus now what I'm seeing. It comes to a head when there's a part about, I think, episode 4. So in the human world, because Satan doesn't have access to the magic that he had in the other world, he's powered down. But you find out that human despair can basically channel power to him again. And Lucifer, who was at the time against him and was causing all this because he wanted to power back up, and Lucifer didn't care. So he was causing suffering and doing all this. And Emmy, as the hero, witnesses the fact that when Satan gets powered back up and he gets his Hulk form again and he's ready to go, he's using his magic to save people, to keep, to hold up a freeway that's being collapsed on some people. And she knows the magic is finite. Like if he burns out the magic he has doing this, she starts
He'll
to
be
question,
stuck all over again.
Yeah, which leads her to question right in her head again, like, I know that, and he knows that he's not going to have this magic for long, but he's using it to save people. This is completely different than what I'm expecting from what my experience was. And that's where the show's really good and gets into the slice of life aspect, where they're just having sequences after this action sequence where they're just talking about like, what is your goal? Like, what are you about? And it's good character moments where they get to have that. In a lot of anime, when you get the tsundere, and it doesn't make sense when they flip that switch and they all of a sudden are just straight up in love with the lead character, they put the work in. to show you that she was developing it because she sees him as a person. They have a relationship as people, and they put the work in. And
Yeah,
I can't say how much I appreciated that, because sometimes they rush that. And that's one of my criticisms on a lot of anime, where they have like the lead character that everyone falls in love with, which, was brought up about ReZero in our previous episode by Joey.
My incorrect opinion.
Well, I mean, you can be wrong about things. It's all
It
right.
remains my opinion.
Opinions are like something, and that one is.
Yeah, you're like something too.
I don't know. I think, I mean, don't we're not going to get into ReZero again and why it's. Yeah, I think Devil as a Part Timer has a lot of in common.
Well, like I said, I liked ReZero. There are just some issues I had with the main character. I like everything about the series, but the main character. Okay.
but see, that's when it kills you, because that's how I feel about like Seven Deadly Sins. Like, I'm here for everybody else on the team. Diana's Bay to me. I really like King. I really like Merlin. All those guys. The plot is convoluted as it is. I'm at
Yeah, they
least
play real
semi-invested with
fast
it.
and loose with that plot and that.
Oh my god, no, because after season 2, I'm like, I'm not even trying to keep up with what the fuck's going on no more. Just show me when Diane and King get married, because I know it's coming, and then I'm probably gonna check out this series, because I do not give a fuck about Meliodas. I do not care. I do not care about his millennia long love thing with Elizabeth. I just don't care.
He's just
I just
such
don't
a
care.
boring character. Like
Yeah.
there's no depth to him whatsoever.
No,
I just don't
absolutely
like
not.
him.
Absolutely not. He's just another standard overpowered because overpowered protagonist who can just do all the things. He's pervy. I never thought I would get tired of the pervy dude trope. He found a way, because oh my fucking god, 89 times every episode he got to grope Elizabeth, grope Elizabeth, grope Elizabeth.
Not to get off too far into the tangent on a different show, but I've watched that one too. And what I think the character storyline wise with King and with Bond, like his story, like when you get into that, and it's so, man,
It's juicy and it's tragic and it's
and it,
beautiful and I love it.
yeah, and then it ties into King, and like and it ties into why he's got so much baggage, and then it ties into Diane. I mean, those
It's
stories.
interesting because like the whole thing, like it's almost like they were trying to do exaggerations of anime tropes, which are themselves exaggerations of personality flaws.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you've gone too far at this point.
Yeah, that really is what it is now. I've never heard it said like that, but that really is what it is. I can't be bothered to care. I watched like 2.5 episodes of season 4 and I'm done. But we're not here to talk about shitty things about Seven Deadly Sins. We're here to talk about the awesomeness of Devil is a Part-Timer. So I'm sorry for that minor derailment.
And
Yes.
and since you got to the whole Lucifer being the first kind of big bad that he runs into, because as far as I can tell with this story, like none of the bad guys end up getting destroyed and killed and defeated and be done with them. They all end up becoming good guys because they get brought to heel by Satan all over again. But that scene where Mao finally gets his demon form back for the first time and it's like, brah, and like Lucifer goes to fight him and he just shoots up and is right in front of Lucifer with those fucking crazy eyes. Like that was an amazing moment where you're like, "Oh, this is why they fear that guy. This is why he's such a badass in his world." He was confident, he was ready, he was shitting himself.
A very apt response to seeing when the devil actually does assume his final form. Yeah, yes, I had to make a final form reference because I'm a weeb, so yeah.
You
But when
know,
he actually goes,
his
when he
power
actually
level was over 9,000 at that
it
one.
really was.
Yeah,
But
did you see all those
yeah.
glyphs that appeared behind him?
Yes,
Like
and I
that
love
glyph
the
punch,
glyphs.
I was like, "Holy shit, he is about to like knock this guy
Like,
into a
that's it.
different
That's
dimension."
it. It's a wrap.
It
It's
is
a
nice
wrap.
after you start watching enough anime, like when you see the magic circles pop up and you're just like, okay. And then when you see all of them, you're like, okay, this guy's about to
Like,
just
oh
drop
nah,
shit
we
and
ain't
F
fucking
that
around no
person
more.
up.
We are not messing around no more. And every time, this is also random point, but this is also the best use of that thing, those glyphs that I've seen. Because usually it gets a little like really tropey. Like I really like how they do it in a Dragon Maid, which is another good reverse isekai / slice of life.
Yeah, that it's a little weird. There are some things that I'm just like, what? what? And of course, I watched it dubbed, so there's a little bit of wokeness in there that I could do without. But
Yeah, see,
I
Dom,
told you, you
I've
gotta go
watched it in
sub.
both languages. I can watch it in either or, but definitely, yeah, I'm not with them changes they made, them insertions they made to the patriarchal body standard. No, shut up. That'll make you're a 10,000-year-old dragon goddess. Why would you give a fuck about
yeah,
that?
I'm
Stupid.
really sick of Funimation and Crunchyroll deciding that they need to curate my content. It's like, no, you will translate it directly and then give it to me. I'll decide whether or not I like to hear what they have to say.
Well, I mean, the
Fuck
person who
sticks.
was in charge of that localization is involved in some other situations that are of. I won't get into Vic and all the rest of it, but that it
All I'm
does
Yeah.
saying is, if
include.
I wrote an anime for whatever reason, I'm some Japanese dude, right, living in Japan, and I create an anime, and then it gets localized for American audiences, and I find out that that was what was translated, I'd be like, what the fuck did you do to my story? Like, what is this shit? This is not your story to tell, it's mine. You get paid to translate it.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, and I know another tangent, but I'm often holding like two extremes. I'm like, okay, I remember '90s dubs. I remember hating '90s dubs because they made stupid changes and censorships for American audiences. That's literally what got me into subs in the first place. I'm like, I was the only 12-year-old I knew watching Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z in Japanese because I'm tired of them changing into stupid shit, and I hated that. And then what did what happens when I grow up? Okay, yeah, the voice acting and quality is better, but then we get people that want to make more stupid changes because heard their quote unquote progressivism. So now we got to talk about Gamergate and patriarchy every time. Like, no, get this shit out of here. Stop trying to westernize my shit. I don't want you to westernize it by turning rice balls into donuts. I don't want you to westernize my shit by inserting random woke politics. Just let it be what it is. Please and thank you.
And I will give you guys credit for being the subs guys. Like, I wish I could, but I've got shitty eyes and I'm a slow reader. And they talk
Uh,
real fast.
Trust me, I can stick with it because I've been with it since, like I said, I was 12. But if you haven't been on that train, like from jump, it is definitely an adjustment.
I used to watch, and this was going way back in Japan when I was living there as a kid. I would watch like Kinnikuman and Gundam, and it was just on the Japanese channel, so they didn't
Mhm.
subtitle
They
anything.
ain't even see
You're just
right.
watching it like, okay, I can know what's going on. I know, or like that robot's fighting, and that's the good guy, and this
Yes.
is, and then
See,
I
when
would.
you don't got no hand holding at all, you just got to run by context clues.
What was hilarious is I would be watching these things, and then my grandmother would send over like recordings of the cartoons like from the US because we did, if it wasn't on the Armed Forces Network, we didn't get to see the good ones. So she would record them, and she lived in Boston. So they had like Transor Z, which is like the bastardized American version of Mazinger that came
Mhm.
over there. And then when that would send over and you'd see like what the American people had dubbed and put and done to it, you're like, this is weird. And it's not
Yeah,
weird because
man.
of what's going on. It's weird because this does not look at all like what I was watching already. Especially if you know Mazinger with the like he/she character that they had. So to me, actually having subtitles is like, wow, this is so much better than just watching it in Japanese with nothing. And then the dubs are just when I'm being lazy and I'm just like having it on in the background. I'll turn the dub on just so because I'll know what part it is, and so I can turn around when I really want to see the part that I like, and it does make it easier. Plus, what I also find is the dubs usually are, at least if you're watching something simulcast, the dubs are usually several weeks behind. This came up recently with what was the show I was telling you about, Joey? The Other Slice of Life, My Dress Up Darling,
Yeah, still need to watch that one.
which was
That
actually
one's
really,
taken the internet by storm
which
lately.
was really good. It was
Everybody's loving it, apparently. I'm just,
because it
I
was
like to wait so I can just binge the whole thing all at once.
it's
So,
done now, so you can watch it.
all in dubbed,
And it's all dubbed. All of it's ready.
then I'll have to check it out.
All 12 episodes, because it was just wholesome and nice. Like there was nothing. It was just a guy helping a girl with cosplaying, and then they have, of course, the normal like fan servicey things,
But of
and
course.
but I mean that, and even that was like kind of not too bad, aside from the the lolly stuff. Not my thing, and I don't want to tell Japan how to be because I know that's the path to the dark side for anime. So look, if they're supposed to be in high school, draw them like our girl here in Devil is the Part Timer with Chiho, right?
Oh yeah, Chiho.
At least make him look like a girl, right?
Well, I will say in that respect too, it's cultural. We have a different culture than them, and I thought we were the ones who always profess, cultural differences. You don't tell them how to have their culture, but it's amazing how often we tell everyone else how their culture should be.
Oh yeah. One minute it's cultural appropriation, this that you don't understand that, but then the moment we get to anime, it's like, nope, they're all evil degenerates, and I took your high school character who showed an eighth of an inch of ankle, and I covered it, I fixed it. Now it's not pedal bait. Okay.
Yeah, or the what was that person who they said something like, "This is just a bunch of weeb fuel for people who get no bitches and stack no paper," or something, and got destroyed online. And I was like, I'm
And
married and have 5 kids, and I make plenty of money, and
Right.
you ran into that a little bit just posting a Common America picture the other
Yeah, man. Like, I got so much. Oh, this is Coomer, My Hero Academia hurt 85,000 people because the hive minds showed up. So of course everyone makes the same fucking not joke. It's Coomer, My Hero. It's trying to be my hero. Just go jerk off. Shut the fuck up.
My Hero's a good anime. Like I
Right.
like
Like,
it.
like My Hero is part of like the later like boom into anime for like the past 6-7 years.
And then you've got Devil as the part-timer where you've got the Mao, like the devil, and he turns out he's actually just a nice guy who's trying to help people.
Yeah,
Like,
like when the highway gets destroyed, and he's got all this magic power, and it's like, well, he could go home, and he's like, I'm a demon lord, and I'm a shift manager at McDonald's, and the shift manager has to take responsibility for his people, so he uses his magic to fix the highway.
and that's what, yeah. And Emmy, the hero, is like, "What is going on? Like, what
Yeah,
is?"
but
And
but
he's,
then but then when we're at the confrontation, she had to tell old dude what's up. Like, you done fucked up. It was like that scene from Menace to Society. You done fucked up, right? You know that, right? You done fucked up. What do you mean I fucked up? You fuck with his subordinate. That's shift manager McDonald's. He don't fuck around. He
yeah.
gonna
He
hand
can
you
come
your
up here and
ass.
be like, do we have a problem here?
Exactly. Exactly. Oh yeah, man. Good shit. Good
But
shit.
Yeah.
I also like that they never make him seem overpowered either. Like,
Right.
there's the one part where, like, I honestly thought maybe they decided to kill him off because it was one of the later episodes, but like, he just gets blasted, and like, hole through his chest, you can see out the other. You can see, I think, the general behind him, like, or her, and
Yeah.
because there's just a hole in his chest, and he falls over dead. And you find out later that he had gone to that specific location so that if he did get shot, he would survive because there was so much despair collecting there that he could use it to keep himself alive. But like, that dude ran. Like, he does not stick around and be like, oh, I'm the most badass creature in all existence. No, he sees a real threat and he's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. We're gonna change the location to where I can mount a good defense because this is not it.
Yeah, like the with the building in the limiting factor of the fact that, with the magic where he doesn't have access to it is a great way to keep him from becoming overpowered, so that because you give him the despair power up, anytime something starts really going wrong in the world, he can fix it, but he's not going to have it sustained, so he has to go back to work.
It's almost like he's working against himself. Like, he could just let the world go to shit and it would make him powerful enough to take over, just like they've thought about, maybe we'll just take over this world instead. Fuck it, right? Like, why go back and try to take over that world where everybody's super badass when we could just take over this world? But like, every time he fixes these problems and saves people and makes things better, like, he is quashing the despair, thus hurting his own chance at getting more power.
If I remember right, there's a part where Emmy, as the hero, confronts him about his, desire to take over this world, and she's not going to let him do that. And she realizes that his plan is to just work his way up McDonald's. And she's basically like, "What? That's your plan? This is
Yeah,
no.
this
That's
is it. This is the
that's
ultimate evil.
that's how did this
He's
is not
keeping up
something."
appearances. He kind of likes just being a normal dude hanging out, not having all those responsibilities of being a demon lord. But since she is the hero, he's trying to keep up appearances and seem like he's the ultimate evil in the world. And because she'll feel really bad if she spent her whole life training for McRonald's shift manager demon lord.
I mean, you're anime only, right? You haven't read any of the stuff going forward?
No, I have not.
Do you care about knowing any spoiler type things?
I mean,
Since
I'll
season
hear
2's
it,
around the corner,
but we'll put
we
the
can
spoiler alert in for people who don't want to hear it, I guess.
Spoiler alert!
Spoilers.
Emmy ends up working at the McDonald's.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. I figured she was going to get fired from the call
Yeah,
center
that
sooner or later
actually-
because she never
that-
does any work.
That actually kind of made me want to go read some of the manga in preparation because, like, I have to see her.
Does that mean she
working
works for him?
under him, the hero who was her whole life's goal was to take this motherfucker down. It's working under him. That is gold. That is gold.
I do like the fact that the angel becomes obsessed with the full manager of the McDonald's.
The Angel is the creepiest character in the whole first season. Like, I don't like him. I do
hate
not
his
like
ass.
him. He's gross and weird.
You know who he reminds me of, since we talked about it earlier, a certain character from Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah, he very much.
If you took him out of Seven Deadly Sins, this is how creepy and disliked his character would be. If you
Oh
didn't,
my god,
like
just
if you
slimy as shit.
like if you weren't telling me that he was the lead and I should like him, this is how I would feel about him, and that's the angel.
He easily has the most punchable face out of this whole cast. Like, I just can't. Oh my god!
And when he takes the sunglasses off, he's even worse. Like, put those shits back on. I don't want to see your
You got
face.
them little beady ass eyes. You're just sitting there.
Yeah, I don't like him.
I mean,
I don't
honestly,
like him at all.
yeah, because he is Meliodas. I mean,
He really is Meliodas.
He's got all the same character traits. Because when he gets all creepy on the manager from McDonald's, and she's just like, "Oh, get away from me," it's like that's exactly how Meliodas treats. Was it Elizabeth?
Or when he was about to take the out of Emmy, and it was like 30. It was like a whole minute of him just like going and all up on her, and of course they had to talk about the breast size and everything, which is another thing we haven't commented on. But I mean that's such standard anime fare at this point. It barely even warrants pointing out. But of course, because Emmy being the super ultra badass heroine from the other world, but she's also not well endowed in the chesticle area. Meanwhile, Chiho is just walking around.
I did find it hilarious when they were both in the changing room and Chiho's like, I think they were putting on swimsuits.
Yeah, it was the mandatory slices life bathing suit episode.
Yeah, and she looks over at Chiho and she's like, "Holy hell, those are huge."
It's so good.
It's like, where did they come from? It's like, what happened?
But the explanation when she looked at her for the first time was like, they're not even practical. You can't even use them in battle. And
then what I also liked in that episode was the traditional Japanese garment worn by
Crestia.
Yeah, Crestia, because she just like when she came over to this world, like she was on like trying to keep her. So she was wearing like all the traditional Japanese garments. So she's wearing like full kimonos and all this stuff. And so when they do the traditional slices of life bathing suit episode, she comes out in like this traditional like bathing garment that like, and everyone's like, "What is that?" And she's like, "This is my bathing suit. This is what I wear." And of course, what my favorite part about that episode is, so like everybody who's an anime fan knows that in slice of life, or even generally in an anime of any type, there's going to be one
any slice of life or harem anime.
Yeah, there's always one episode a season where it's at a pool or at a beach.
It is mandatory.
Somehow,
Hot Springs.
Shout out to Outlaw Star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So where you can get the girls disrobed into bathing suits or less.
Yeah, it's such a trope. They even do it with American quote unquote not anime like Avatar.
Yeah,
even they had a fucking.
You got to have them either in swimsuits or in fog. It's got to be one or the other.
Mandatory.
Yeah. Well, the censorship fog. Not always fog, depending on the service you purchase. But what's great
another thing, I don't need you guys to fix, okay?
But when they do the bathing suit episode, like they have Chiho, who's the most womanly of the female characters, like show up in the bathing suit. But of course, our hero Mao was working a shift as a favor at the McDonald's at the beach resort, place. And so he just does not even care because he is there for he's like, I am going to impress the manager's friend who's another manager because this is my path to being a McDonald's shift manager because he wanted the promotion. And so when they show up in the bathing suits, he's like, oh, it's great to see you. Oh no, the fries must be turned. He's like running, like And Shiho
And
is
then all
so
the
disappointed.
crocodiles escape or whatever. And again, he uses his power to subjugate the wills of all these crocodiles and save the people. Because he's like, you are not ruining my sales.
And he's like, no, this is my big chance to show I can handle shift management at a McDonald's. You get back there. And of course, Emmy the hero is once again like, what is going on? Why is he doing this? Like, he is obsessed with doing a good job, and this is weird.
I really like how the characterization behind Mao being the, even though he is literally the demon lord, is always out here doing all these great things for people, and Emmy the hero has to accept that, powers and title aside, he's not just this evil piece of shit who's gonna just destroy everything. And the fact that they're using like the Christian lore and everything, I really feel like if you want to get super ultra meta, I feel like this is like the experience of like a super religious person who's been told just terrible things about like atheists and Muslims and stuff. And then they meet somebody and it's like, no, what are you doing? You're supposed to try and blow shit up. You're supposed to tell me all the time about how my God's not real and I have a magical sky daddy. Why are you out here actually being a good person? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, they very much they highlight some of the fanatical extremes in a lot of cases, and I just love that like Mao does not give two shits about any of that.
Oh no.
Like when Crestia tries to kill him, when she's like, "Yeah, your girl is up there, and if you want to get her back, you're gonna have to go through me." And he's like, "Well, hold on," and he takes off his shirt and his pants, and he's just standing there in his boxers. She's like, "Why are you taking your clothes off?" He's like, "This is a McRonald's uniform. If I allow any harm to come to the uniform, it comes out of my paycheck, and it'll look bad on my review."
Exactly. Just the
So he
absolute
folds it
absurdity
all
of
up real nice and sets it off to the side. And he's like, "All right, now I'm ready to fight you."
And of
Oh yeah,
course,
man.
and what he's also not saying is that Alciel will give him hell for money being taken out of his paycheck when he could have avoided it. Because he's got this fastidious little live-in manservant who's just the biggest budget hawk. And I love the dynamic where he's like,
with irritable bowel syndrome or some shit.
well,
Like the
no,
dude can never work.
well, that
Well,
was
he ate the
because
rotten noodles, right?
and then yeah, because they can't go to waste. They're past due, but we purchased them, so we must eat them. And that's where Lucifer was like, I'm not eating that. Yeah, so I love the dynamics of Alcio like basically trying to boss him about the budget. Like, you are wasting our money. We will never be able to do anything if you keep
Mhm.
spending our money. Why did you get your bike ruined again? We have to pay for repairs now.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of one of these more super fantastical anime is when they take this stuff and it's so outrageous, but it's like, yeah, the world is ending. Yeah, this person could be like about to kill all these people. Yeah, this is a portal that's totally gonna summon this evil entity, but y'all don't understand. I got a meeting tomorrow with the head of staff, and if I want this promotion, I got to get my solid 8 hours. So if we gonna fight, we need to hurry up and fight and get this shit over with. Cause my head is hitting that pillow at 10. All right. So I'm not playing with y'all. Like I just love when they do shit like
It's
and
so
like
Japanese too. Like, you're 100% committed to it. Like,
mhm.
once you live there and you see it, and you're like, oh well, you don't get it till you're like, it is so ingrained in the culture there. Like, even if it's just a job at McDonald's, you commit, and that comes through in anime. And I think a lot of people, maybe who are weebs, can see that when
Mhm.
it's like when they're doing a battle show and it's like, you will come at me with 100%. You will not slack off, because if you do, it's not fair to either of us, and I don't want to beat you if you're not giving your
Exactly.
best.
The whole Goku thing. I'm gonna let you power up to 110% so I can beat you at your best. And then the
It's
whole
so
world blows up.
Japanese, like, where there's like, it's not worth succeeding if I'm not beating you at your best point too. That's another fun difference versus a lot of anime, where you've got like the shiftless kind of like lazy kind of
Mhm.
isekai character. And I know this is sort of it's a reverse isekai, but it still qualifies to me as an isekai.
I think you could
Definitely,
definitely call it
definitely.
a reverse isekai. Like it very much has the isekai elements in it, just flipped around
Yeah,
where instead of going to a different world, it's coming to our world.
So
Mhm.
what I like about it is the isekai usually comes in the most common flavors that I encounter are the shiftless who just lucks into it everything OP main character and the OP character who somehow knew everything that was going to happen before it happened and had some sort of master plan for every circumstance. Like if you've ever seen like it comes up a lot with like where the demon lord gets reincarnated as an average high schooler kind of show where he's
Yeah,
like I
that literally is probably the title of at least 5 of them because they
yeah
always do
there
it.
was one I
Or
watched
the in another world with my cell phone, where apparently his cell phone could just do fucking everything.
yeah I don't how is he charging it by the way did they ever address that
I think they addressed it at the beginning there, where the where God was like, "Well, you're going to be able to use magic in this world, so I'll teach you how to use magic to charge your cell phone." And I'm like, "What the?
I hope
And
Apple
where's the network coming from? I don't see any fucking cell
I
towers."
was about
Hang
to
on
say
that God network. Don't question it.
I hope the Apple App Store doesn't like throttle his battery because he's using
What the
magic to
fuck?
charge it.
Yeah, Verizon shut his shit off after a month because he wasn't paying it anymore.
But yeah, so I one of the things I really like about Devil's a Part Timer is that he doesn't have a master plan.
His master plan is just to do the thing really
It's hard
well and
work.
just climb the ladder.
He shows up and the one where they're dealing with Santucky Fried Chicken moving in across the street and taking their customers, so he has to figure out how to get people in for a
Right.
Christmas celebration to get more customers.
One of the things I really like about it is it does that whole flip it on its head thing, where it's like, instead of him being a nobody who becomes somebody, he's the fucking demon lord who becomes nobody.
Yes. And and it's totally that's him. Also, am I
And
the
he's
only
kind of
one?
happy that he is. I
Yeah.
think he honestly didn't want to be the demon lord.
We saw what he was going through, man. Running an evil empire and having your hands in all these different continents and stuff. You got whole legions out here. You got to worry about the resistance, the angels coming to get you, and then like God forbid one of your generals decides, nah, man, I'm over this shit, and mutinies or something. Then you got to deal with uprisings among your own troops and shit. Like that's stressful. Like just come over here and deal with this. Like climbing the ladder at fast food is way better than running an Elseworld evil empire that subjugates everyone through despair.
Yeah, and they played with that a lot too, like because the hero, like she confronts him at one point, was like, your armies killed my father, and he's like, I didn't know that happened, and I'm sorry, I apologize, but your people wanted to kill my people. Like the church told you we're evil and we must be destroyed, and there was
Mhm.
no negotiating. Like when you find us, you murder us. We fought back. This happens in wars.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to find out later that maybe the demon lord didn't kill the father. Like I still feel like maybe the church just
I was just about to say
like
that.
he's done. He served his purpose. We can't have him telling people shit. So
You want
silence
this?
him now.
You want spoiler?
Oh, I'm sure I'm right. I'm sure I'm right.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Spoilers.
Joey is as right about this as he's wrong about ReZero.
See, that means I'm right.
Glad you admit it. Ha ha ha. No,
Oh,
yes,
see,
yeah.
now your expectations have been subverted.
Yeah, there's one of the overarching things going on with this one is that there's kind of, and you may have already picked up on it from the first season because of the undertones. The church is being subverted by some bad people.
There's a corrupt element in the church that is picking up a lot of power and steam.
Exactly. That his actions were kind of, as you mentioned, were precipitated by just defending his people. And so he went offense, which in reality he was being defensive.
Well, he couldn't
best
do
offense
defense
was a good
because he knew, and the church had said, like, we're never stopping. As long as we exist, we will come after you. We must wipe you from the face of our earth, whatever their earth is called. Well, what do you do with that? It's like, well, then I have to fight you.
Yeah, so yeah, it's there were definitely layers, and which is good because you don't want and we've talked about it on our regular podcast. It's one of the things I usually say is
You don't want your hero to kill the younglings.
Exactly, you don't have your hero do something that they can't come back from if you're going to do a redemption arc. Redemption arcs do have a hard line where there's certain things you can't redeem against. And so you've got to watch out. Now, if you're
because supposedly it was Lucifer, right? Supposedly Lucifer killed her father.
Yep.
That's what we heard.
Allegedly. Yeah, but so it's important, unless you're Padme...
that dude couldn't kill a cup noodles. He's not going to kill your father.
Yeah. Unless you're Padme and you don't care about those dirty Tusken Raiders,
Man,
there's
every time, without fail.
I
I'm
mean, once
sorry.
he said he killed the children, she was like, "I'm sold. This is my man."
I mean, come on, Animaine. Once I brought it up, you're like, wait, and you thought about it, and you're like, he did say I killed the women and children. And she's like, let me give you a hug. Let
My
me,
God damn it! I can't unremember that.
You
because
know,
Padme was Star Wars racist.
all I gotta say is, as disjointed from everything that happened in that story is, man, it was stellar writing compared to the new trilogy. It was just, I mean, whew, the prequels were a masterpiece, a fucking masterpiece at this
Goddamn,
point.
hang them shits up, and wherever they hang like the best scripts ever, hang that shit up compared to what we got now. Like I can't. If I never see those movies again,
It's
will be one good thing that's happened to me in
I
this life.
never saw the last one. I just
Oh,
watched
yes.
Mahler's review of it and was
That
like,
that is
yeah, that sounds like total dog shit.
that is the correct response. I wanted that shit in theaters because I woke up and chose chaos that day.
Professor Chaos.
Literally, and when I left, I did feel like I had a fucking throwing star in my fucking eye. Goddamn! Somehow Palpatine returned. The fuck? I hate you.
Somehow he returned. What does that even mean? That that's
Said
one of the
that.
reasons I've been really and I'm excited that we're doing the Weeb and things, because anime is so prolific with so much content. There's so much good content, and and so talking about something like Devil's a Part-Timer, where it's just a fun, good show.
Yeah.
I like actually talking about stuff I like. A lot of people are like, you guys, people only talk about things you hate. And it's like, no, we're going to talk about things we like. And it's not just, I'm not a negative Nancy over here only saying about bad things, but go watch Devil is a Part-Timer. Go watch these shows, because you're going to start, when you start seeing good content, you can start really appreciating how bad the other stuff
Well,
we're getting is.
the mainstream has lost touch at this point. Like back in the day, right? These people would climb up and become who they are, but they remember where they were. Like they remember where they came from. But like the newer generation, a lot of these guys are like famous actors' kids and famous directors' kids, and like they don't remember where they fucking came from because they never came from there. So how you gonna relate with me when you never been in the struggle, when you never had to, put blood, sweat, and tears into what you got? You can't. You've never been working class. You don't know what most of America. You can't relate to us. You don't know what we've lived, and you try to tell these fucking stories, and they're garbage. They're hot shit garbage.
Yeah.
So yeah, anime, like those dudes are working 9 to 5s. They get it.
I mean, anime, the people who animate it and make it, it is a struggle.
Yeah,
of a
they're
job.
working like 9 to 9s.
Yeah, it is. It is not a good
9 a.m. to 9 a.m. the next day.
And they like sleep in with little blankets under their cubicles. There's some stories about how terrible like the animation industry is for doing like stuff, especially at crunch time when when a show's got to hit its deadline to get out. There is some corners cut, and some people like when some people are like, oh, they cheated on the animation. I was like, give that fucker a break. That guy was probably like, if he reused a background, whatever. Like,
exactly.
Maybe
they're putting these shits out weekly.
And I remember because when Dragon Ball Super was coming on, I remember if y'all watched it, I know. I mean, even if you didn't watch, it's infamous at this point.
We can talk Dragon Ball Super. I watched the shit out of Dragon Ball Super, and like as far as I am concerned, after GT, they finally redeemed themselves because it was amazing.
It was, but like everybody was cracking on them episodes where it was clear. It's like, all right, it's crunch time. We got to get this shit done, and it looked like somebody 5-year-old drew it, not particularly talented. No offense to 5-year-olds out there, but like it looked like just some doodles they threw up there, and I'm like, wait a minute, because that shit they produced that at crunch time. Meanwhile, on stateside, we got all the time and opportunity in the world to make shit look pristine. And what do we pump out? If it ain't
we're downloading Getty images of bread.
Getty
God
images
damn it.
of bread on fucking High Guardian, high off my ass spice. And that's what they put up, and that's what they got. How many years was it from when they announced the show to when the show actually came out? And that's what we got. I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear shit about how stuff look, how they do over there. They work with what they got, and they put that shit out here, and y'all want to sit here and criticize. But this is
really like you're complaining.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Go back to like Dragon Ball. Like
right.
this show didn't become what it is because the animation was so amazing. Like that, don't get me
Right.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. The art style is on point, but the animation has never been great. Even in the first couple of seasons of Dragon Ball Z, it's like, okay, we're gonna put this punch frame and this punch
Mhm.
frame together, and we're gonna put the two guys next to each other, and we're just gonna go back and forth between those frames a couple
Exactly.
times and throw some speed lines on it and call it good.
Like
And then we'll
them
move it from
flurry
this
of
corner of the
punches was
screen to
literally two or three
yeah.
different drawings just back to back to back. So everybody, just like you were saying, people forget where we come from. Y'all forgetting. Okay, y'all remember when shit got hairy back in the day? Oh my god, you want to talk about being off model?
Yeah.
Oh my god, where you can literally watch from episode to episode or even scene to scene sometimes, and it's like, okay, they all the budget literally went into this beam struggle, and now that Cell's dead, everybody got noodle limbs. Nope, done.
And like
Oh man.
the Jiren battle in general was just absolutely fucking phenomenal.
Oh my
That
goodness.
music
That
they
whole
play
arc,
when
bro.
when Goku goes Ultra Instinct,
Yeah.
like the
Oh
violin
yes.
hits where it's like dun
Mhm.
dun dun
Dun,
dun. I'm
dun.
just like, oh my god,
Oh my
oh my
shit.
fucking god, he did it, he did it. And then he's just holding Jiren's energy blast in his hand, and he's just
Mhm.
like, fuck your energy blast, I've dispersed it.
Right.
Oh, you're
Like,
gonna
oh
try
my
and hit me?
god.
I dodged. By the way,
So
when I
much
dodged,
hype.
I hit you 17 times. You didn't notice? You'll feel it. There it is.
I'm waiting for your body's nervous system to catch up with the fact that I just did 1,000 hit combo on you. Oh
I
my
don't know
god,
how they
bro.
make Goku seem more badass every single season, but they pull it off.
Yeah.
Like
Man,
every
look.
season, I'm just like, well, I mean, he's fucking OP as fuck now. I don't know how they're gonna keep this
Yeah,
shit going.
I
And then they
literally
do it again.
yeah, it's funny. I would say I don't know how to go and top this, but this was me when middle school me, more probably more like elementary school me to be honest. But like when I first saw Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta versus the Shenlong, and I'm like, huh? How? That don't even make sense. How they gonna top this? And then
Is that the
fast
one where
forward,
he
here we go.
throws the sparkles at him?
That was in the movie when he was fighting Janemba. I was
I
talking about in
love the
GT,
sparkles
but no,
attack.
the whole the little rainbow ball attack joint. Well, they actually gave a name to it now thanks to the video games. It's like Soul Punisher, I think. But like,
Yeah, that
yeah,
was like my favorite.
when
Was
he's
it
whooping his
Budokai?
ass
Where
and
you
he's
just you
all
throw
yup,
sparkles.
yeah, and he's doing all the acrobatics and shit, and Janemba's just like, oh, and then he puts his hand up, he forms a little rainbow ball, throws the dust at him, and his eyes turn into like TV screens that are all staticky and shit, and he just blows up and disintegrates from the inside out. Yeah, look, if anyone questions my Weeb credit, I have that scene burned into my retinas because I've been watching it like every day since I was 10 years old. But
That
yeah,
attack
man.
and Beerus's Symphony of Destruction were my favorite two
Yes.
attacks.
Yes. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god. Okay. Well, I'm not even going to apologize for the tangent at this point because at this point, me being on is the tangent. But when they finally do another Xenoverse game, which please can y'all stop patching this? This game has been out since 2016. I don't want no more DLC patches, man. Just make a new fucking game. We on a whole new system now. How do we not have a new one yet? Vinny, I'm sorry. Vinny is just over there just listening, like, yeah.
Well, I
I
mean,
would.
I did kind of skip some of the Dragon Ball, so I'm
That's not your wheelhouse.
well, I watched up through. I mean, I watched it when I was a kid, and I watched, obviously Z, and but I didn't kind of. I was like, it didn't keep my attention after. Like you, I think you mentioned it. Like oh, he's been fighting, Frieza or Cell for like a month.
Yeah.
It's not something that kept my attention. I need a little bit more happening.
Here's my thing. Like, I was really deep into the Saiyan saga when Vegeta and Nappa came down, and I watched the shit out of that. And then the Frieza saga, I also watched the shit out of. I never watched a whole lot of the Cell saga or the Buu saga, but I know all the main beats. I know the best parts because one of my best friends is actually like a huge Dragon Ball Z guy. Like he knows all the shit, and he told me like, dude, Dragon Ball Super, you gotta watch Dragon Ball Super. I'm like, yeah, but you told me GT was okay and GT was shit. And he's like, yeah, Super is way better than GT. Fuck GT. GT was shit. You're right. I wanted to like it. I was wrong.
Well, damn.
And so, like, I went and watched a little bit of Super. I watched the first couple episodes, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is pretty good. And then I watched the Jiren fight like probably 15 fucking times. Like,
Yeah, man.
I do. I just love that he grabs this world-ending ball of energy and just disperses it like it's nothing because he's gone Ultra Instinct. And all the gods that are watching this battle stand up
Mhm.
because they show respect. Like, not even all the
Right.
gods have mastered Ultra Instinct, and here's this human doing it.
Right. And you
So,
got it.
saying,
Yeah, the ningen is it would say in Japanese, but like you gotta put it in all into perspective. We were talking about Dragon Ball earlier and how shit the animation was, but obviously story wise, it's been on point. This little kid who was raised in the wilderness by this random ass old man who, when we first met him, he was just killing fish and like doing martial arts moves to make firewood, and thought a car was like a beast summoned by a witch or something because he was just that much of a fucking hick. Now he is on a level that's so great that even the gods, the people who create and destroy and maintain, are like just in awe of him. And like that is a testament to something that Vinny was talking about earlier about how a lot all these Eastern properties are all about like giving 8,000% and always finding your limit and surpassing and leveling yourself up and cultivation and stuff. And like Goku is like the ultimate anime version of that. This little kid who was once nothing has now grown into someone who is even inspiring the gods. Like, fuck yeah.
well, and it's a very like I'd say it's almost like a Taoist thing. I know a lot of people say Buddhist, but like I think it's just generally across the Taoist belief structures. It's like never settle for good enough. Like
Yeah,
every single day, you should go to bed thinking, I've learned something today. Tomorrow, I will be better than I am today.
exactly.
And it should never change. You
Exactly.
should never, even when you're like 70 years old, you shouldn't go to bed
Nope.
and be like, I'm good enough now. You should
Nope.
continually improve.
I always say the journey, the story, the changing, it stops when I'm dead. So if I'm still breathing and I plan on continuing to breathe, that means I got leveling up to do.
And then after I'm dead, I'm gonna come back as a zombie and start improving my zombie skills. So it's like
Yeah. And
my
now
bite
that's
force little stronger than it was yesterday. And today I'm shambling instead of just walking. So
see
next
now
I'm gonna light
that's the
jog.
isekai we gotta have next is when because it's always they die and get reincarnated. No, they die and they just come back as a zombie, but they're still trying to level up as a zombie. Like that's
Instead of the Overlord, you're like the Overlord's most pitiable minion.
exactly exactly. Oh my god, yeah, man. We done. What were we talking about initially again?
The devil
The
is a
devil
part
of part
timer.
time, but yeah. Overall, definitely got to say though, this series is like I can't even rate it. It's like it just gets all the stars because it just all the things right. I'm glad that I'm listening to the first Weeb Bout and knowing that you guys are gonna do this one next got me to watch this again because I haven't watched it since like 2017. I want to say I was way overdue for a rewatch. So
Yeah, I
glad it's
hadn't watched it either, but I just remembered I was like that's and I was looking through the various slice of lives because the whole format is Vinny makes me watch isekai, I make him watch slice of life because
You're
those
right.
are our wheelhouses, right? And I
Yeah.
was looking through and I was like, Devil is a part timer. Man, I wish that got a second season. And then for some reason, like Google was listening again because fuckers
They
listen, right? But a news article just pops up in my feed like Devil is a part timer is getting a second season finally, and I'm like, it's getting a second season. We gotta do that one.
fuck yeah, man. Oh man, so we already know. Like, at some point later on this year, we coming back for part 2 of this episode. Then, right? Because we gotta talk about season 2.
Oh yeah,
Oh
Fuck
yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
it's gonna happen. We'll just see if Joey can manage to deal with it because they're probably gonna be subbing it before they dub it.
Oh yeah.
Dude, like here's the thing, right? Like I want you to watch Haikyuu next because it's just an amazing volleyball series. And I think I've seen the first 2 or 3 seasons because they're dubbed. But I'm over on Crunchyroll looking at it and I'm like, there's like 3 more seasons and 2 movies that are subbed. Like there's a lot of freaking Haikyuu that I haven't seen. And I'm like, I might just have to suck it up because I loved that show so much.
You know, I'm generally not into having just one corporate overlord, but I will say that Crunchyroll and Funimation's little merger has made my anime consumption much easier.
As long as I don't fuck with it. It's when they decide, oh, hey, we're gonna fix all the problems of anime. Like,
Yeah, man, fixed it for you.
you know who doesn't have problems with anime? The people who are fucking watching it.
Look, all I'm gonna say is I'm an adult, and I don't always need the fog on my anime, and so Funimation used to be much better about not fogging anime. Crunchyroll seemed more committed to the fogging. So, although I will say anime is what it is, I like it to be in its natural state and just let it be.
Both Crunchyroll and Funimation have settings. And in those settings, you can enable mature content. It's literally a checkbox. You could be like, yeah, I want to be able to see the mature content. Why are you fucking with it beyond that? Like, I said yes.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Right. That's kind of par for the course, though, of what we're dealing with just in general, where we already have the means at our disposal to perfectly like curate our experience. Like, do we want to watch the Looney Tunes with the black face and the Mopsies and the red Indians and shit? Do we want that shit to be in there? Okay, then I can leave it in there. You done already told me it's coming. If I don't want it to be in there, guess what? I can just not watch that one. Or I have someone's harassing me on X website. I can block them. I can mute them. If they're actually violating terms of service, I can report them. I can do all this stuff. So going all this extra route for them to just be like, well, we understand that some people might find this problematic, so we're just going to just take it away. No.
They did that in Funimation with specifically with an episode of My Hero Academia. Apparently, a bunch of people started fucking complaining about it, and they just pulled the dub. So there was a season where like every episode was dubbed, and then I had to watch like the second to last episode of the season subbed.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Because they were like,
wow.
"Oh, it's such a shitty dub," and I'm like, "Why would you fucking pull it though?" Like,
That don't make no. Oh my
I
god.
watched 80s animes that were dubbed, and believe you me, you
Right.
got to put in the
What
work
was?
to be that
I
shitty.
want to know what was shitty about it, because yeah, like you said, like I watched
It was like the
the.
episode with the dude who could deconstruct people with his hands, right?
Mhm.
And it was like one of the very
Shigaraki.
last episodes when,
Shigaraki.
yeah, like right after Lemillion lost his power and everything. It was like one of those last episodes where we're in the final stretch. Like,
Right.
and I was like, well, shit. Like, I'm this far. I'm not going to stop watching in the middle of it. I guess I just have to suck it up and deal with the subs.
Yeah. And it's not even like how they would do it for like Dragon Ball Z back in the day, where they would like, because I mean, we already know that the dub industry was infamous for doing that shit back in the day. But it's one thing to pull like a random episode when Gohan's training, with Piccolo and shit, and it ultimately didn't amount to anything, plot wise or anything. But to pull like, we're in the climax of the goddamn arc and y'all just pull it because there was, go fuck yourself. Absolutely fucking not. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was a mess. I just don't get it. Like, here's the thing, right? In order for me to have a subscription to Crunchyroll or Funimation services, I have to have a credit card. If I have a credit card, you're going to use that credit card to verify my information, including my age. Like, that's part of a credit card verification is they ask the birth date.
I think that's the way a lot of websites who have content and verify things.
Yeah, so you know that the person who is purchasing your service is damn near a 40-year-old man at this point. I can take care of myself, I promise. I've been doing it for 20-something years now.
Right. I didn't. Oh my goodness.
I don't need you to protect my fifis. There were plenty of people who called me plenty worse shit than any anime could ever come up with, both in high school and boot camp.
Right.
Hell, in boot camp, oh man, whoo. Some of the things my RDC said to me, holy shit, I'm not going to repeat them because they're bad.
Oh, I got you. But yeah, it's, when you've been called everything but a child of God by people whose opinion you actually value and people who care about you, and shit's gone on, it's just kind of hard to get offended because an old cartoon or an anime said something, or just like bro, if I'm that annoyed, because that's all I'm ever going to be at this shit at worst is annoyed, I'll just go watch something else, likely still on the website. So how about you just get your fucking hands off it?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if I don't like it, I just won't watch it. There are plenty of movies where, you know, people of my complexion are made fun of for being the rich, ignorant yuppies that just like they don't realize how hard life is. That was not my experience. I mean, there were things like
Yeah.
there's a reason I had to join the military. Like that is not everyone's experience. It's a silly stereotype. It's a fucking joke. If I don't like it, I'll watch something else. Like I do not feel hurt by it. I feel like, this is not for me. Moving on.
Exactly.
Like, it's not
Yeah,
hard.
fucking simple. Like same thing with me and the we can't let the black people know that hey, some decades ago, people made like really offensive jokes at you people's expense, and you just can't handle that black person who's living today who didn't even grow up with that shit being every fucking where and has known a life of acceptance where you can do what the white people do. You can't handle that, so we'll decide that for you. I'm like, if you don't give me my fucking racist ass Looney Tunes so I can laugh at these stupid. The racism is literally so absurd, I can't do shit but laugh at it.
Dude, you know
Like,
what our
I don't
favorite
even
thing to watch on the ship was? Like,
What?
our favorite thing to watch? Boondocks.
Fuck yeah.
Because Boondocks made fun of everybody.
Yes. At least seasons 1 and 2. Season 3 got here and it was kind of meh. And then season 4.
I don't think I ever saw season 3, but I had seasons 1 and 2 on DVD, and somebody was like, "You got Boondocks? Dude, bring that on deployment.
yeah.
We are watching that shit."
Fuck yeah. Shit stands up today. Shit's gonna stand up forever. Like, God, that show was a godsend.
It was just so funny. And like, yeah, I got made fun of plenty in it. And you got made fun of, and Vinny got made fun of. Everybody got made fun of.
Because they'll make fun of the
Samuel L. Jackson voiced a white guy.
Yeah. Samuel Jackson and fucking, what was his, rest in peace, he ended up dying, but Charlie Murphy and Samuel Jackson voiced 2 white dudes that were the most wigger-ass wiggers you ever met from the military. And it was hilarious. It's like, yeah, we're laughing at them, but then you turn around, and then what we making fun of next? Okay, is black people who continue to support R. Kelly and know he peed on that little girl and did a whole bunch of other shit, but his music good, so we just gonna keep supporting it.
Dude, and Riley was fucking hysterical.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
man.
Like anytime I hear R. Kelly now, I just think of Chappelle's show when he did that.
I'm gonna pee on you.
Gotta
Do too.
Here's the remix.
Exactly, bro. Oh my god.
Oh, Chappelle's.
To be alive in the aughts, as they say.
I
But
feel,
like, honestly, like we used to be able to laugh at ourselves, and now everybody just takes themselves too seriously.
I think
everybody.
The peak of entertainment, like freedom for at least I think we can all kind of looking back say was probably around mid 90s through around 2003, 4 ish. That range, people could make whatever they wanted to make, and as long as it was good, it was just funny, or it was good, or it was whatever. I took my brother and I think I forget I think it was during like the tail end of COVID round 1 when I think was it Cruel Intentions or it got re-released for like a 15th or 20th anniversary, and we went and saw this, and I was like, oh my god, there's no way this was just a teen movie, and they're like making, like he's getting, like pretend, like he's coercing and doing that, and I was like, oh my god, this would be crucified if they tried to make this movie today. And at the same time, it was just a good movie. It was entertaining. It was Dangerous Liaisons remade for kids.
Well, Animaine mentioned it earlier, right? Like, Don't Be a Menace. That would never fly today. Yeah. Harlem Night, never fly today. Hell,
can't watch Harlem Night.
Big Trouble in Little China would never fly today.
Oh, can we? Have I mentioned
they couldn't even make fucking Rush Hour today? Like, not even.
No.
Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? That would
my god!
Don't you ever touch a black man's radio, boy? Like, really?
Can we just take a moment to appreciate how underappreciated Harlem Nights is as a movie? Harlem Nights is amazing.
I'm sitting here looking at my DVD right now.
Damn good.
Harlem Nights is amazing, and it got
Coming to America? No way. Would not fly.
No way.
Do you know? All right. So I worked at I'm gonna in a part of Virginia that is very diverse. Animaine knows because I've mentioned to him off air where it was that I grew up, and when I
Oh, by the
moved
way,
back to the
Animaine,
States.
just so you know, I live 30 minutes down the road from him. 40.
No. We're talking about where I
Oh,
grew
where
up.
you grew up.
Yeah, so this is much more diverse than where you're at. And the movie theater
Well,
I
I was in
worked at,
Norfolk, like
well, Norfolk,
melting
yeah,
pot of the
Good
Navy.
lord, the way you say it. Oh my god. I
That's
love
how
when
it's
people
pronounced. It's Norfolk.
Norfolk.
not
It's not
Norfolk.
Norfolk.
I love when
No,
people say Norfolk.
I love when people
Norfolk.
who've never been. I hear the people when they put that L in there. Oh my god, I crack up every time. Norfolk, like I forgot who it was, Steve Harvey or somebody. He was talking about something. We gonna be live in Norfolk, Virginia. I'm like, sir, please, please.
Yeah, it's just Norfolk.
And yeah,
Basically,
so
no fucks. It's no fucks.
No fucks.
yeah,
Hey, no fucks. It
so
works.
so the movie theater I worked at was one of those 80s multiplex style theaters, stuff the seats in, just the like folding seats, 300-400 seat theaters. And one of the theaters, like, because very diverse, opened in the 80s, along the wall was about like face size ring stains. And every time I would be cleaning this theater with one of the she was hilarious, and she was black, and she'd be like, why people always got to let their soul glow against our wall. And I just like, and she's like, let their soul glow. Glow. And I was like, and I love Coming to America. It's so hilarious. And Eric LaSalle, when he was in there playing the, and then who was when Eddie Murphy was playing the singer? uh, who came out,
Yeah,
and,
man.
the Jerry curls. And anyway, but it was just like that. Yeah, that there's no way you could make those jokes. And because I watched Coming to America too, and they definitely didn't touch that stuff. They didn't go there. And
No, they turned it into a female empowerment story, didn't they?
if you mean a female who was empowered to rape Eddie Murphy's
I'm sorry.
character,
What?
That's what they do now, right? They take old stories and they're like, all right, now we character assassinate the dude who used to be the main character, and we make this way better
all
woman.
right. So the plot of Coming America 2 is that Eddie Murphy got married at the end of the first one. He found his queen. They don't have a son, and it turns out he did have a son because they flash back to when the first Coming to America was happening timeline wise, and what's her name, the girl from female Ghostbusters,
Leslie
uh,
You
Davis.
talking about the power of Patty Bellevue?
Leslie Jones, right? Leslie Jones.
Yeah, Jones.
So her character had basically date rape drugged Eddie Murphy in that era, and did the business with him, and she got pregnant, and so they had a son, and he just
Oh
found
wow,
out about it.
throwing a lot of shit that's really immoral in there,
Wow.
but I'm
But
sure we're
no
gonna try
one,
and make it okay.
but that's complete. They don't,
Representation.
no one ever brings that up. Like that's not that's not a problem at all. That she basically, like, if you flip the script and make
Yeah,
it,
imagine if he did that to her, end of the fucking world.
exactly.
Oh my
If she
So,
does it to him, though, it's just hysterical. It's
well,
so
no,
funny.
yeah, it's a funny plot contrivance.
You're a man. Not like it fucking matters.
Which again is what I like, getting back to anime, is that they still just have fun. Like they don't need to worry about that kind of stuff. They just, if
Yeah.
they don't do that kind of stuff in their plots generally anyway. They
That
use,
one you had me watch, like, oh, I'm surprised Americans haven't come after that one hard.
which one are we talking about?
The one with the guy who's always looking at the goddess and he's like, you're so useless. You're just
Konosuba. Konosuba is hilarious. And yeah, because he's just like, you're so useless, so useless. I mean, between because that's Aqua, the useless goddess. There's Darkness, the the masochist,
Yeah, she's
masochist paladin, and then you've got was it Megami, who only does explosion magic. She won't.
Yeah. He's like, why don't you learn some other magic, that you the lower levels so you could actually cast it effectively? And she's like, no,
There's
the
only
only
explosion
magic
magic.
that matters is explosion.
Yep, and I can only use it once a day.
And then afterwards, I'm so drained of power that I can't walk, so I need you to carry me back.
Wow. Okay.
Have you not watched Konosuba yet, Anime?
I'm adding this to the list.
So
I'm adding it to the
Konosuba
list.
is basically like a a comedy isekai, like where they take the normal isekai stuff and they do it as a comedy, where the guy reincarnated into the other world gets useless help. So,
Okay,
like
that sounds good.
like Aqua is the goddess who's in charge of like reincarnating him, and she's like, "Oh, aren't you so? I'm so lucky, and like you get to take one thing with you to help you on this journey." He's like, "Fine, I'm taking you," and she's like, "Wait, no, no, you can't do that." And then she appeals up to the higher ups. The other gods are like, "No, yeah, take her, take."
Mm. Oh, one of
Yeah, they're
them.
like there's nothing in the rules that says we can't do this, so I'm making it happen.
Yeah, and it's just funny. And so yeah, so if you like isekai and this one makes fun of all this stuff, and it's just like Darkness is the name of the paladin, and she is obsessed with getting captured to be tortured, because she's like, oh no, these bad guys are going to come out. And so she's supposed to be like the warrior of the party, to like be who can fight, but she constantly just throws her sword down to try to get captured, because she's like, oh no, they'll capture me and they'll tie me up and they'll do all these horrible things to me. She's clearly getting
This
excited about it.
this sounds like everything.
Oh,
Definitely
it's
gonna check
hilarious.
this one out.
And so, and it's getting close to completing the checklist, because in order to watch Isekai Quartet and know who's on screen, you need to watch ReZero, Shield Hero, Konosubo, Overlord, and Tanya the Evil. I've almost got Joey checking off all the lists. Overlord.
Overlord's the only one I got left because I've
Yep.
watched Shield Hero. I love Shield Hero. It's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, Shield Hero was dope. Definitely. I got to work on the other ones though, but I'll get there.
Yeah, and yeah, so if you, and then once you've seen all those, you can watch Isekai Quartet, which is just a 15, a lot of the comedy animes tend to only be like around 15 minutes long. They shorten, and they're just like, I don't know why they make them quicker when they're funny. But Konosuba is not. It's normal length anime episodes, but the actual comedy animes are usually like 10 to 15 minutes long, and they just hit it and make their jokes and get out. They don't
They ain't lingering.
They
All
don't
right, so
linger.
I've been thinking about it, and I want to run an Audible.
Oh, for the one you're going to make me watch next?
Yeah, my problem with Haikyuu is, one, there's a whole bunch of sub stuff that I haven't seen yet, so I can't very well tell you to watch it, because I still got to get caught up on a lot of stuff. And there's another one that's supposed to be getting a season 2 this year. It's going to be later in the year, but it is supposed to be getting a season 2 this year. So I think that's the one I'm going to have you go with.
And what's that?
Uzuki-chan Wants to Hang Out.
Oh wait, isn't that like
yes.
that one blew up the internet, right? Because she was
It
the one
did.
Yes,
who
that
had the
one blew up
very
the internet,
because
and she is awesome.
they used her character for like art for a blood drive, and they were trying to give first world crap to Japan for doing that.
How dare they?
Yeah, and
If I remember right,
actually
she's
really funny, and she's
She is a
adorable.
damn
I don't know
delight.
why people hate on her so
It's a
much.
damn delight. Okay,
Look,
I will have
I mean,
no slander against Uzuki.
I think
anywhere.
I've seen the character design, and it leans into the kind of anime girl I like, so I'm going to
See?
be fine with it. I like girls. That's one of the best parts of an anime. They draw girls who are girls, and it's nice.
Well, she's a fun tomboy character that just happens to be stacked.
Exactly.
Like,
And is grossly unaware when she's doing something inappropriate, so that
she's a little aware. She's a little aware. She knows the effect she has.
That first episode when she was on the what you call it, when she was getting massaged in the massage chair, like stop, do that
Okay,
shit.
she's blissfully unaware of that stuff, but like the
Yeah.
effect she has on the protagonist.
Oh no,
she knows exactly what she's
8,000%
doing with
aware.
him.
She knows it. That yes, and that also is my shit. Good shit, man. Good shit.
All right, so okay, that'll be a good one, and this is going to be good because now we'll just have Animaine on regular, because he's going to be watching these things too.
Yeah, I think he's just the third member of this particular segment from now on.
Hell yeah.
That'll be good. Good
I'm
stuff.
always I really need someone who I can like truly weeb out with. Currently my girlfriend is like the only person I can like fully weeb out with. And like it's kind of tired. Like I love her, but I need some other people that I can really talk about anime with, because like the rest of my friends either they only like one or two anime or they're like anti-anime. So like,
I
I
don't
need
get
some
why
more.
people hate on anime. I know that it's like a cultural thing where over here people are like,
Yeah.
oh, animation's just for kids. And I was like, I don't think you've really watched these. They're just good shows.
Oh, it's too weird. Meanwhile, they're okay. I'm not gonna start.
To any guy who says that, how do you feel about the jiggle physics in Dead or Alive? Because they're in anime too.
I'm going to be honest. I've told you before, High School DxD has the best jiggle physics engine in all of anime. Season one. It gets a little touchy later seasons, but season one is like the best it's ever been for the jiggle physics.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
so
it could be worse. We could be High School of the Dead with
With
the
the
titties
bullet
recoil.
flying, yeah.
Yeah,
I
could be
mean,
there. So
look,
could easily be worse.
I watched High School of the Dead. It was okay. I mean, I felt like they should have leaned in more one way or the other. Like they went they tried to have it both ways and it just didn't work. Like they should have either made
Yeah,
it like a funny, goofy, like completely fan servicey show, or they should have just kept it serious with just maybe some light fan service. But the like, making it a kind of dark tone and then having like the parts where bullets are flying between like chest components like jiggling and it's in slow motion. It's just like,
yeah,
okay,
man.
well, it's supposed to be. I mean, I know that's a famous like clip. I think they use as a GIF
Yeah,
on like Twitter all the time.
everything.
But I mean, there's the character designs and the artwork is not terrible. In fact, I think it's pretty good. But the execution of the show in general, from a story standpoint, I think was lacking because I feel like you really got to lean into one or the other and then go with it. Like if you lean into the fan service goofy side, then you can still have some like zombie fun parts of the show. Or if you go serious side, you just have the occasional fan service stuff, and then otherwise you're just generally a
Plain
zombie
straight.
show.
Yeah,
When you're
the
trying
only
to
other
do
way
too
you
much,
can do that is a gradual shift. Like Trigun is the best
I was
example
just
I can
thinking
come
of
up with
Trigun. Yeah,
every time.
because them is
Trigun
two
starts
different
out as
shows.
just fucking comedy. It's just the silliest shit in the world, but it slowly gets more serious as you progress. And by the end, like, it's a tragedy.
Yeah,
It really is a sad story at the end, but they ease you into it, which
exactly.
I think they did that better with the older animes. Newer animes,
okay,
they haven't
if you
mastered
want
that
to talk
formula.
about something that just totally takes you by surprise, go watch the Berserk movies in chronological order on Netflix, like the prequel movies.
Can't. They're too dark.
Too
They're
much.
too dark, man.
Because like, oh, you're thinking, okay, the first and second one are just okay. This is Guts is just gonna be working with this guy, and yeah, there's definitely some stuff. And then the third movie comes, and you're like, oh my god, what just
I
happened?
Yeah,
know the story of I've known the story of Berserk for fucking ever at this point. Like I was so confused when I was watching it on Netflix the first one that dropped. I was like,
Because it's the
I don't
prequel.
remember Berserk looking this good. I don't think this is the Berserk that I watched when I was younger.
Yeah,
Cuz I watched it on like I watched it when I was like 12 and I was like, "Oh my god.
because it was the
What is
prequels.
this?"
Man, when they get to that third movie, and you're just like, dude, oh no, eclipse. Oh my god. Oh my god. What is no? Oh my god. Like this is terrible. And it's just like I am amazed that it took the anti-anime people so long to discover Berserk on Twitter.
The only reason they discovered Berserk is because everybody's jumping on the Dark Souls bandwagon right now with Elden Ring. And don't get me wrong, I fucking love Dark Souls. I'm sure I'll love Elden Ring when I don't have to pay AAA prices for it. But they've got a whole bunch of Easter eggs, kind of call outs, tips of the hat, so to speak, to Berserk, because I guess that was a big inspiration. And now,
now the
all the
woke normies
fanboys
found
for the
it.
Dark Souls franchise are like, well, what's Berserk? Why's everybody talking about this? Let me go look at Berserk. This is
Oh my
problematic.
god! This is wrong. Like, go
Oh, my
fuck your
stars
face.
and garters. I can't handle this. You should take it off the internet so I never have to see it
Go
again.
play Care Bears or some shit. Because
Don't look at it. Just
we
don't
ain't
look at it.
adding no easy mode to these games. We ain't changing shit about Berserk. Go away.
Yeah, I mean,
This is why it's so easy to be Slender Dad these days, because like, the whole my greatest weakness is if you just don't look at me. But these people can't not look. You know, like
permanent sled detector.
I need to be removed from
look.
existence in order to not be looked at. Apparently,
Yeah, man.
It's I mean, I hadn't watched the Berserk stuff till I watched it, and so I don't like people taking it away. I don't like any. I mean, just let it enjoy it or
Leave it
don't
be.
enjoy it or don't
Yeah,
partake in it or don't.
almost
If
like
you've
we
got,
can choose.
I've got a small child. If I don't want him to see something, I don't make it accessible. I take steps, and it's pretty easy to keep him from getting to that content, at least while he's in my house. I don't, I can't, obviously there's the, part, like I remember growing up when you went to the kid's house whose parents were a little more freewheeling with the content
yeah,
they
we
made
went to
available.
our boy's
Mhm.
house whose dad had like every issue of Playboy ever, and then we would sneak out into
Exactly.
the backyard. Like we'd run over there from school. Like we just bolt over to his place because his dad didn't get home till 5. So when we got out at 3:15, we had approximately 1 hour and 45 minutes to pull off this operation.
That's a
And
good
there was
way
no
to
internet back then, so this was it. This was our only shot.
that was an interesting way to describe it.
Fucking saving Private Ryan in this bitch. Just say, all right, look, we got
you
this window.
you want to
We
talk
got to be
about
here to here.
You want to talk about stuff that's different when you're a kid? I think of like the WWE, which at the time was the WWF.
WWF, which I
Like,
still have to make myself call it WWE.
yeah,
to
I
this
still have that issue.
The stupidest thing ever. Oh, wildlife. Fuck
Well,
you, dude. Like, who cares?
It's because they got
There can be
sued.
two.
They got sued.
Right.
They lost.
Yeah,
They
and
fought it.
I can't believe they got sued over it. That's the stupid thing. Like, there
It's
can be
because
two.
it's because they got bigger. Anyway, but like you remember like DX and the stuff they were doing in the 90s, and they had bra and panty matches. They had, which by the way, if you go back and look, is actually more clothing than what the female wrestlers are generally wearing now with the hot pants.
Well, they also had stereotypes. You remember Yokozuna?
Oh no, you don't even know that one. Like you think that was like the worst stereotype?
Oh no, it's just the one I remember the most. They had
I
like
mean,
the
then
Maui looking dude too, and
are you thinking you're forgetting about the Nation of Domination?
the Nation of
We
Domination.
are the nation of
They
domination.
they were even racist against clowns with Doink.
With Doink the Clown, yup.
I
No
mean,
one was safe.
I mean,
And then
well, the honky.
Mankind was like
Yeah.
Mick Foley was like 15 different
He was Mick
stereotypes.
Foley. He was Mankind. He was Dude Love. He was
Love,
Cactus Jack,
Cactus Jack.
which were all names he had used at other wrestling promotions.
I like that's why he was my favorite. 'Cause like he's just everything.
I love when Mankind would break out Socko.
Yes, the Socko, let's go.
Yeah,
And here's the thing too, right? Like this is perfect. This is perfect because wrestling really kind of puts it in perspective for you. Like a lot of people would look at those characters and be like, "Man, that character is problematic." I would look at that character and I'd be like, "Man, that's a character.
Yeah.
It's not a real fucking
almost
person."
like they're almost like they're not real or something. Weird how that works.
my favorite thing. It was damn real to me. I love that clip of that guy.
The whole point of developing a personality or a character is in order to really translate it in a medium like a movie or a TV show or a wrestling event, you have to dial it up to 11. It has to be obvious what character that person is.
Well, yeah, heels and faces and
Yeah, nobody gives a shit about an 8. Like, if you dial your personality up to 8, nobody cares.
well, those are the jobbers that you put in, for your main guy to either, just, pancake or to get the matches on. I mean, you go back and look at The Rock.
Exactly.
He had, I think, 2 or 3 incarnations before he finally hit. Stone Cold Steve Austin had several before he finally hit with his character. It's very
What did
common.
his character do? What did his character do? He wore jeans and he drank beer.
Weird.
Well,
Like,
it
he was
cheap
white
ass
trash as
beer.
fuck.
well,
John
yeah,
3:16 plastered everywhere. I didn't know what the fuck that meant for so long.
Austin-
Just
It's
drinking
like-
PBRs
I just knew it
and throwing
was
those shit
Stone
in the
Cold.
audience.
Austin 316 says,
316.
yeah, I remember it was Austin 316, and he was like, doing, just chugging the beers, like on the ring. But he had been a
Give me
wrestler
a
for
hell
like
yeah.
15 years plus by the time that finally hit. One of the reasons Stone Cold wasn't in the wrestling, as a Stone Cold as long as because he was already getting injuries. If you remember, he had those knee braces on all the time because he
Yes.
could barely walk. I mean, Undertaker was one of the guys who lasted the longest, and
Yeah, but even though he was always Undertaker, his character
well,
underwent several
yeah,
Yes, because I
there
renditions.
remember when
the
Y2K
American
hit
badass.
and he got on the fucking, he was a biker for no reason, riding out
Yeah,
the Kid Rock and shit. I'm
yeah, that
like,
was
I was like, "Where's the wide
man,
brimmed hat? Where's
yeah.
the
prepare
So
your ass. I
cut?"
need the gloomy music. I need the
yeah,
funeral music. I need the tombstone. That's what I want. When he started riding out on the Titantron to bikes with sparkles and shit, I'm like, nope,
no,
I can't ride with Undertaker no more.
that was the American badass version of
Mm-mm.
his character, as opposed to like the traditional
Yeah, no,
Undertaker
man.
version.
And that
Because you do
Y2K
evolve it.
shit.
Yeah, like Jericho was, and Chris
Oh my
Jericho,
God,
and
Chris Jericho, yep.
he was just
I mean, Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan, like they were
Yes.
the epitome of the '80s archetype.
Yep.
I mean, I would counter that Ultimate Warrior was kind of the peak '80s wrestler, but
Ultimate Warrior was up there too, but
no, I
like,
mean Hulk Hogan is like what everyone remembers. I grew up with Hulk Hogan, but Ultimate Warrior was like
yeah,
a thing. Like, and then Bret Hart came after. Like that was the transition where like where Hulk Hogan moved on and Ultimate Warrior was there. Then Bret Hart. And I still remember R.I.P. Razor Ramon, rest in
Yeah.
peace. He passed recently, but that crazy ladder match, I think it was at Royal Rumble, where it was Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon. My family may have had a family member who had a hookup that allowed pay-per-views to be obtained at very low prices, and then they would record them and send them to us, and we watched the heck out of that thing on the tape, like that ladder match.
well, and you remember Cable Guy? Did you ever watch Cable Guy?
Yes.
Cable guy.
You remember how the guy was like, "Hey, man, you slipped the Cable Guy $50. He'll give you all the channels for free, right?" Like
Mm-hmm.
people today would not understand that, but that was a thing.
Well, it wouldn't
Like, I
work
remember
today.
my dad like had a hookup where like we had the satellite TV or whatever where you had the box, and
Mm-hmm.
all you had to do to get the other channels was get one of those cards with the little chip on it and put that card in, and it just unlocked the rest of the shit.
Yeah, that's because
Yeah, man.
in the old days, the decoding was done at the box. Like the signals
Yep.
would just go to the box,
You
and it was
just got a
so.
fully modulated signal with everything on it,
Yeah,
and it
so
just
you
filtered out what you didn't have.
could actually, because I remember in my college years, I bought off eBay a cable, like a decoder cable box, and I plugged it into my dorm room cable, and I got all of a sudden HBO and this and every channel was
Oh
coming
yeah, man. I
through.
know they stayed in your room over that shit. You
And
you
people
know,
were like, "We have those channels." I thought it was just the basic one. I was like, "Well, everything comes through. You just need to, just spend $20 on
No,
eBay to buy the
no,
box."
my friends. I have those
Yeah,
channels.
yeah.
you want those channels? Come on, open open
Well,
the wallets.
I had two
Come on.
things that made my room the place
If
that
you
people
want
wanted to
those
be.
channels, I guess
Yeah,
you're bringing the beer.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so there were two things that made my room the hangout. I had the special cable box that decoded, and I managed, because I don't know how I lucked in this, day one without pre-ordering, because this was before pre-ordering was a thing. I walked in and just bought a PlayStation 2 the day it came out, which, if
Oh
you
yeah, you was
remember,
the
it
man.
was sold
Okay.
at, like, my mom calls me because she's on base in Quantico at the time, and at the post exchange, the PA, like the electronics store there, people weren't like lining up to go to the PX in Quantico. And she calls up and she's like, "Oh, they got PlayStation 2s in stock. I'm getting one for your brother. Did you want one?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll swing by and get one." So I drive home from college because I wasn't too far away, and I had my car, and I just go in because I had my military ID. I was still a dependent in college at the time. Just walked right in, bought it, and walked right out. And then I went to Best Buy and proceeded to buy the 4-player controller port, adapter. If you remember in the old days when it was wired controls, you had to get the thing to make
Mm-hmm.
it, go from 2 control ports to 4. And I
Yeah.
got Madden, the launch day
Oh
Madden
yes.
football. And I remember me and my roommate and the other guys were like, "Oh my god, the players blinked. How realistic are these graphics, man? Look at them. They're blinking. This is amazing." And then I proceeded to try to use the Giants to win, and I didn't because they had Kerry Collins at quarterback. And then my roommate would use the frickin' Falcons with Michael Vick, and he would just
Of
run
course,
90
Michael Vick
yards
brought the
on
world.
sprint and like just get me. I was like, you a-hole. So then I started.
This was before the dogs,
Yeah,
so
yeah. So that was back when they made him like a 99. If you remember Madden stats, like his speed was 99. Is I was like you could if you didn't like overload to just sack
Weren't
Michael
you
Vick.
able to get like historic teams on
Yeah.
that one too?
Oh yeah, that was I
I would
remember. Yeah,
always take the 85 Bears because then I could just run through your line. Fuck you.
I would do the 86 Giants.
And that was the only good team that I ever had in football. So it's been a long time for the Bears.
Oh man, this is a wild conversation. We start with Devil as a
yeah,
part timer and we go all over the place.
we don't went around the world a
I
couple
mean,
times.
we're at 2.5 hours, so we
Oh,
probably
no,
should have
Yeah.
closing remarks, and
yeah,
then Vinny,
we
you're
done
gonna have to hit us
definitely.
with what we're gonna watch next.
Yes,
I thought you wasn't yeah, so you picked Devil as a part timer, so
So it's your
let's see.
turn.
So we're doing isekai. Let's see, you sort of already did Tanya the Evil. You know what? Let's do Overlord because I don't think Animane's watched that one. So we'll do Overlord. I believe that's on Crunchyroll.
I believe so.
all right.
Yeah, so and there's a few seasons that, and I think they just announced a new one's coming up, so it'll be pretty timely. And
Dope.
that'll check off your list too, because that'll mean you're good to go for Isekai Quartet.
Yeah, I will be good to go for Isekai Quartet.
I think you're
I
going to
don't know about.
appreciate Overlord. It's pretty. It's got a lot of comedic elements to it, and a little bit of slices life parts too.
Okay.
You know, I'm here for that slice of life, so most definitely it is
I-
on the list.
I love the slice of life, but so my closing thoughts on Devil is a part timer here would be I don't think as it is right now it's a super great anime. I think they set up a really good story. I think there's something really special in there that we didn't get enough of in the first season. So the fact that there's a second season coming, I think it's going to be something special because they build everything up really well. I also liked that he's not the unstoppable isekai force that we get a lot of. That was kind of a breath of fresh air for me on the isekai front. And like he needs his generals. They serve purposes. Like Lucifer is their tech guy. He's the guy who understands the internet and gets them the things and does a lot of like there are a couple of things that he does that really fuck up the budget, but they pay off. Like they actually mattered. And like the other general who's I can never remember his fucking name. Who's the other guy?
Asiel?
Yeah.
Asiel.
He they portray him as a bumbling idiot sometimes, but like we had pointed out before, he does call Mao on his shit a lot and kind of keep him in check. And I think there's a badass there that we just haven't gotten to see because he's always so busy going back to grab his cloak because he needs his cloak if he's going to go into battle. But like there's that one scene where you see him, he's just chucking cars. And I thought that was so awesome. I'm like, he's a badass too. Like he's not a loser.
Never underestimate the help right hand.
So I really enjoyed it. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it subverts a lot of tropes by literally just flipping them to the opposite of what you would expect. And the characters are all really well put together and believable and enjoyable. So that'd be my final thoughts.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it just as a fun, enjoyable, like not isekai, slice of life, or whatever you want to call it, reverse isekai. But I just like it's the characters, and as you maybe got from my conversation about ReZero, I think one of the things I enjoy most about anime is just when they spend some time letting you get to know the characters and their personalities and their quirks. And what really makes a great anime to me is the side characters and how good they are. And like Joey was just saying, the side characters are what really elevates a great anime. And Devil as a Part Timer has great side characters that you just like watching.
Yeah, because none of them are cardboard cutouts. Like
Not a
there's
single
depth
one.
to them.
Yep. What do you think, Animaine? What's your thought?
It is for the longest time. This was the definitive isekai anime for me, and the fact that it is a quote unquote reverse isekai just shows how I like the genre, but it definitely gets. I feel the tropiness with this genre a little bit more than others. Not exactly sure why, but seeing this is what made me definitely be like, okay, yeah, I need to give this another shot because, like you both just said, the way they subvert the tropes by just turning them on their heads, the way that they can take something as simple as Miles' first day at McDonald's and truly showing how he is still the same person he's always been, but he's climbing this ladder and he's seeing it as accomplishments. So you would think that, oh, this is the devil, right? He's just using this to try and take over and destroy people. And sure, that's what he's saying, like outward when like Emmy calls him out or something. But really, this is just who he is. This is his life. And the fact that you have these epic characters from this genuine fantasy world come over to our world and they're still themselves and they're learning about themselves. And the hero who was tasked to kill me, and the evil demon lord, maybe he's not actually so evil, and Emmy is still best tsundere of all time. Like when y'all do the next whatever war, like waifu wars, if there's like a tsundere category, Emmy better be in one of y'all's, or I'm gonna find wherever y'all are recording it and I'm going to come on. I'm gonna be like, stop.
Ooh, maybe that
Stop.
should be
Well, I mean, you're
like the
gonna edit the
waifu
video,
wars.
so
Stop.
there's just gonna be a hard cut where it's like, "Hey, this is the editor. By the way, they are wrong, and this is what's supposed to be here."
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
maybe we should do that as the category for the waifu wars, like just top tsundere, like top 5 tsunderes.
Because I definitely got Emmy in my top, and I got a couple other ones too. But like,
We'll do the deadliest dares.
yes, the
Ooh.
deadliest daries. Because
Who's
then we
gonna
got to
gut
talk
you like a
about
fish?
the yanderes. We got to talk about what one is Uzaki in them, and she has one. I can't remember exactly which one. The one that likes to torture her, like, and humiliate her crush. Like that's a dairy, but I can't remember which one it is. But like,
Is that
but yeah.
the yandere? No.
Mm-mm.
No, the
It's
yandere is the one that loves you a little too much and will kill
too
anyone
much.
else
Yeah.
Yeah.
who even looks at you.
Yeah,
Is that the
yanderes will murder
gudere?
your family.
The
I gotta
gudere
look
is
at
the one of the rarer dere types, and there aren't too many around. But it's an interest goo, but it's the most often attributed to the phrase goo goo, which means boisterous. Boisterous, yeah, she's a gudere.
There you go. And then we got the Sado Dairy, which is like this is like a sadomasochist. So that would be like Nagatoro from what you call it. Where
Or the
she's like Uzaki, but she's like dialed up so much to where it's like she's borderline evil.
yeah, be like a Akano from High School DxD.
Just in general, just to close out my remarks about the show, it's genuinely great. It's a mixture of great fantasy, great characterization. I hate Sariel so much. He has the most punchable fucking face on this fucking show, and I can't wait for him to come back so he can get assaulted some more in season 2. Carry your ass on over to Crunchyroll or wherever and watch this shit so you can be primed and ready for season 2, and y'all better not fuck it up.
That's right. Don't One Punch Man season 2. I know that people will come at me about it, but I loved One Punch Man season 1. Season 2 sucked. It sucked ass. Sorry, it did. It just was terrible. And so deal with it, people. It's just objectively true. I'm not one of those
I mean,
people who
even
just hates
Dragon
season
Ball
2.
has GT, so
Yeah.
it's not unheard of that there can be a season that just didn't fucking land.
I mean, and part of it, I think the animation quality just dipped a lot. So, and they definitely didn't have as much. I don't know. Anyway, I won't get into my problems with season 2 of One Punch Man just here because that would be a while. It'd be like Joey talking about why ReZero was not
I was
awesome.
gonna say, keep going. My ReZero arguments are getting stronger every second.
This is never gonna die. This is never going to go away.
It's not going to die, just like Subaru doesn't die because he has returned by death.
Oh God.
Well, I think that wraps it up for me.
All right.
right.
I think we're done here, gentlemen. We derailed 15 times.
Yeah, this is like 3 episodes worth of shit in here.
I think we only spent about 40 minutes actually talking about.
Yeah. It's my fault. I accept responsibility. It is very impossible to stay on topic when I'm around because I tangentially
it's
tangent
fine.
every time.
I think
fine.
that's what happens with a weeb out, man. You're gonna have fun
Weeb out.
That's how
because
you weeb out. Like,
that's you can't be a weeb and just like one anime. It's gonna bring up a whole lot of others.
Right. And then that's gonna bring up other nerd shit like wrestling and video games and Cause let me tell y'all something, right? Cause on Weeb Out, we bout.
Yep.
And that's what we bout.
I'll be honest. If it was available, the thing that I would definitely be telling us to watch would be Kinnikuman, but it is not on any service, and I don't know why.
Is that Ultimate Muscle?
Ultimate Muscle, the first one, not the new generation. I'm talking about like the legit 80s one where they,
Okay.
that was straight up like 80s Japanese sensibilities. So there is just
No forgiving.
they
There was
do
no
not give any F's and stereotypes galore. And so like of course like the American wrestler is a big old cowboy with cowboy hat, cowboy
Of
boots.
course.
But
Chibbity Crockett, Jefferson, Washington.
yeah, but that's not the stereotype that's the worst. I've shown Joey some clips. So, but that would be
they're
hilarious.
bad. They're real bad.
Like Brocken Jr. versus Ramen Man. So,
Okay.
look it up on YouTube. You'll
I
see
am
what I'm
doing
talking
so right now.
Brocken versus Ramen Man. And that's where it'll end, because when everybody else looks that up after listening to this, they're going to be like, oh my God, that was in an anime.
You people are complaining about the wrong things if you're complaining. Like, just dig deeper. Just keep going.
Yep. All right. On that note, Weeb Out number 2 is in the books, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Yeah, we out of Weeb out.
Yep.
Deuces.
Bye.